Eat your mic.
I'm going to eat the mic. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Muddled Dice. It is August 30th, 2019. I'm Daniel.
Hi, I'm Abby.
Hi, I'm Sean.
Hi, I'm Celeste.
It's your boy Cole.
Cole has the best introduction, as usual.
Well,
Well,
Tyke had that porn one. That was pretty good.
that's true, but Tyke hasn't
What?
joined us in a long time.
Tyke's been dead to us.
What?
Yeah.
He said that Tyke was his porn name.
Oh.
You were there.
What's
that was like the first
It was
one.
the week
That
before
was
she
the
was
first.
there.
Was it?
Yeah.
God damn it,
Oh,
I
okay.
missed this?
Yeah, I thought that was when you recorded it at his house.
It was my first time.
You weren't there at his house?
No, I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was when we recorded it at his house.
Was it? No,
I
it was
don't-
the time
God, I
we
don't
recorded
remember
at
that.
your house. Outside.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. In the backyard.
He said Tyke's my porn name.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also his work name.
Yeah.
He's a professional.
Okay. Okay, so I think the big thing we all want to talk about tonight is shit, I forget her name. Kotaku's amazing Dungeons and Dragons article.
Yeah.
I forget who wrote it. Celestia something.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. And like again, Kotaku has just been like knocking it out of the park. Like her and Jason Schneider have been knocking it out of the park with amazing articles lately. Mm-hmm. And this one was about the history of Dungeons and Dragons and how it's kind of been this mythology that Gary Gygax basically like invented the entire thing. And it's kind of like, no, there was someone else behind the scenes who didn't get as much credit. It's kind of like a Bob Kane and Bill Finger scenario.
Yeah. I think it's really cool that like they mention it kind of early on in the article that Kotaku is doing a lot of different kind of investigations into the history of different, you know, what would quote unquote be considered like important nerd culture. And I'm really glad that they chose to do an article that kind of shed some light on what I think is a really is still kind of a really emerging out of nerd culture thing, which is D&D, and giving some respect to some creators just past Gary Gygax, because even in like the circles I run in that like they don't really play D&D, but they know of D&D. Like Gary Gygax is who everyone knows,
Yeah,
and so I think it's good to give more names to the people that like have made D&D what it is today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows Gary Gygax. Like, even, like, he was in an episode of Futurama, and, like, he's been referenced on like, Big Bang Theory, I'm sure. But, like you said, I think a lot of people don't know a lot of the other names, like Robert Kuntz and Arneson.
Yeah,
remember
Dave
his-
Arneson.
Dave Arneson, thank you, yeah. See, I forgot. Yeah, I just read the article today. So, yeah, it was really interesting to hear all the entire backstory of how D&D came about. It wasn't just like one dude who was like, I have an amazing idea.
I think it's also kind of interesting because the way the article was written, it kind of reminds me of like those Shakespearean analysis / theories where everyone's like, oh, he's just a figurehead, but really a bunch of people wrote it. And
Okay.
like from what the Kotaku article was saying, it sounds like D&D's kind of like an amalgamation of like different games anyway.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of pointing out like, hey, why aren't we giving like credit like where credit is due? And then like in the comment section, people were like, oh yeah, well that's just part of like building up, like that's just part of like any like I guess games development, but also at the same time, like I don't know where would you draw the line like in terms of like crediting like inspiration and then like also just like, hey, this person like actually like helped develop the game, like what, like I don't know, where do you think?
I guess
like,
that's fair. Like, do you credit like Gary Gygax's son because he was in that first session?
yeah.
I
or
think
like,
Are you asking should they get credit at all or how much credit they should get?
I guess kind of both, because like if you're like even like when you're creating something and like I don't know, say you're drawing something and like you take inspiration from like something you saw that's like I don't know in your subconscious like 10 years ago, like do you have to give credit to like that inspiration too, or
From a legal business standpoint, I have no idea.
I
But
think
normally I would give credit to anyone who played any role.
yeah.
I mean, when you start trying to figure out how much, it becomes real dicey. But
Yeah.
if you just credit it all, then
Yeah.
it should
So
be
this is
pretty
interesting.
easy.
I'm looking at the player's handbook for D&D now, which actually, interestingly, it says Dungeons and Dragons, not Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And it says D&D lead designers Mike Merles and Jeremy Crawford. But then it says based on the original game created by E. Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson with Brian Bloom, Rob Kuntz, James Ward, and Don Kay. So it's like, it is like the 9th or 10th credit in the credits page, but they do give credit to a lot of people in the now D&D player's handbook, which is different than the AD&D. I've only recently gotten to D&D with you guys, so I don't know how different it is.
I don't know why they call the one thing advanced and this not.
Neat, police.
Yeah. So backtracking a little bit and then tackling that. I think for me, it's if you look at the content in like terms of who should be like given credit. If you look at the content and then were to take out the thing that was inspired by someone else and it drastically changes the quality or like the output of that content, then I think those people should be given credit. So like in this case, like the article talks about how like Gary Gygax, like he wrote the rule set, but his rule set was inspired by his combat from the game he created, but then the free form role playing that was from Blackmore. And so if you were to take that out, then D&D would not be what D&D is. And so I think it's like really important that he gets that acknowledgement.
Yeah,
some of the games they were describing sounded like Warhammer.
Yeah.
well, a lot of the game. Well, they said like a lot of the rules of D&D came from fantasy wargaming or just plain
Yeah, where they were
wargaming.
trying to figure out line of sights and all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
what sounded like Warhammer.
Yeah. Well, and like those old, like Avalon Hill war games. And the article made an interesting point that D&D is like has the rules of those war games, but the core of D&D is the role playing. It's not the math to figure out whether you hit a monster with your sword or not.
Yeah.
It's the character you create to play, which came from Dave Arneson, not from Gary Gygax, apparently.
Because there was a portion of that article that mentioned like what he called rule lawyers or whatever.
Yeah.
He was trying to get away from that to just like let the
DM.
dungeon master,
The referee, as they call it.
sort of like figure out what was appropriate at the moment rather than like adhere so strictly to the rules that it messes up your game.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too. It leads to like we seem to be getting a lot of these lately. Like maybe as like papers are unearthed, where like people that we thought were like, oh, there's great genius behind this thing. It's like no, it's not really all them. Like I mentioned, like Bob Kane and Bill Finger earlier. And then there's the, like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and
Steve Jobs, Wozniak,
yeah,
whatever his
exactly.
name is.
yeah. And it seems like there's always like the guy who, well, just like in D&D, like Gary Gygax knew how to market it and make it profitable and make it so everyone could play it. And Dave Arneson maybe didn't have the drive to do it.
It seemed like
so Gary Gygax was the one who got the credit.
It seems like he figured out the mechanics mostly, but he didn't package it up as a product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you were telling me you've got a connection to Dave Arneson.
Yeah, he taught a class when I went to school. I didn't give it as much credit as I should have at the time and hang out with him more, but it was pretty cool. He taught like rules of the game, so he just sort of like mostly just hearing about his experiences. But it was really cool. He's a cool guy. He looked like George R.R. Martin when I try and picture him in my head. He looked a lot like that guy, maybe less beery, but yeah. No, he's a really nice guy though. I'm surprised he must have left this earthly realm like right after I left or something. Because what was it, like 2009,
2009, I think. Yeah. Like a year before or after Gary Gygax? After. Okay. Yeah.
So that's a shame.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Interesting article.
Yeah.
But it's hard to figure out. Like it seemed to be all about like who to give credit to, I guess.
Kind of, yeah, or at least like recognizing,
removing the pedestal. I think is what it felt like. Like not necessarily being like Gary Gygax sucks, but like hey, like he's not the only one that deserves the credit.
And they also gave him a lot of credit in the article too. They like Gary Gygax did do a lot.
Yeah.
But he didn't do all of it, so
The
which is
back
important to
end stuff.
recognize. Yeah. Well, and also the marketing and the selling, like which, if this had just been a thing that stayed in Dave Arneson's head and was like only something you could do at his house when he was there, I mean, we wouldn't have Dungeons and Dragons today.
Yeah. I mean, not that anything untoward, I guess, was happening. It's just interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of a thing that, like, as something as big as Dungeons and Dragons, like, it kind of needs like a creation story, and it's going to become mythologized with like this genius who created it out of the ether. And
because it seemed like they were kind of making it for themselves, and then at some point it crossed over into a product.
Well, it seems like Dave Arneson's was for him and his friends, and then Gary Gygax
he was
took
just
it
sort of
and made
sharing
it
it freely with other people, like freeware or something. Open source stuff.
Well, they said, like, I think they said in one of the interviews with Rob Kuntz that like Gary Gygax was like trying to desperately attach himself to some kind of game to sell or something. Like,
is he the one that he was an insurance adjuster or something? I forget his original job. It's something with insurance, right?
Underwriter.
Was that him?
Yeah, and then like
I thought he was the kid who hung out at. Or am I thinking of? Is that the different person?
Kuntz was
They're probably thinking
kid.
of Kuntz.
Was the kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Gygax was
Kuntz,
like
fuck,
something
I've been saying it
completely
wrong.
unrelated,
I
and
have
then
no
like
idea.
didn't
Okay.
have that job anymore.
Let's say it that way so I don't giggle.
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, it definitely
It
is.
was a long story.
Well, that's the other thing too about like these Kotaku articles, like the Jason Schreier article about Anthem. Like, these are long ass articles that like, if it didn't have like the Kotaku banner and if it wasn't about video games, I'd be like, oh, this is a Washington Post article. You know, I mean, they're long and they're really well researched and they're like important articles. You know, like I'm digging what Kotaku's doing.
I'm glad that they seem to be taking themselves seriously, like in a good way. Like,
yeah. It's kind of funny too, like the whole time I'm reading the article, like I know it turns out with like everybody hating each other at the end, but like, man, like to be involved in that, like, just like
that moment in history kind of thing.
But like I can't think of the right word. What's that called? Like when you have like eggs and you put them in like a thing to
An incubator.
Yeah, thank you. And this like idea incubator that people are just coming up with ideas and creating things, like that would be really cool. Like I definitely don't want to like hate all of my friends after 20 years, but you know,
I've seen
it'd be cool to be in an idea incubator.
Similar
and
things
come up with
happen
really
with
cool
like
shit.
people who do live action role playing. They have to
Okay.
develop a little system, and then they have ownership, and then they start
Yeah.
like trying to deal with like returns because people pay to play the game.
Yeah.
And you always end up having some kind of issues like that.
Yeah.
It's, especially
It's
in
a good
that
thing
realm
this
anyway.
podcast will never make money.
Huh?
I said,
Speaking of you,
One of these days,
No.
exactly. It's gonna turn out to be a multi-million-dollar YouTube adventure. But yeah. Are any of them left? Kuntz is left.
yeah, he's still around. And that documentary, Secrets of Blackmore, is apparently supposed to
need to
finally
look
be
for
coming
that.
out.
Yeah.
Apparently it's been in development for a while. They didn't mention it, but like when I looked on YouTube, there's a trailer from 2016. And apparently it only came out recently. So it's been in development for a minute. So
I'll have to look for it.
Yeah.
Netflix, Prime, hopefully, something like that.
hopefully. I
Okay.
don't know. I mean, that kind of niche stuff, maybe Prime. I kind of doubt Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix seems like a stretch for any D&D documentaries.
they did have a few documentaries on like cosplayers and like bronies and stuff though. So
Did they?
like
Recently,
they had a
or-
brony
Okay.
documentary.
What?
Is
Yeah.
it good?
I didn't watch it.
I kind of knew someone. I don't think he was a brony, but he was so close. You might as well say he was a brony.
That's unfortunate.
like cosplaying as Valdo from Soul Calibur.
That's a hell of a cosplay.
He could do the moves though. That's why he chose Valdo.
Ooh, wow.
He could do the whole back bendy thing.
Wow.
It's
Oh.
crazy, but still, you're dressed like
Okay.
Valdo, so
Right. Yeah. Yeah. With like a cod piece and not much else.
all that purple tight
Yeah,
stuff. It's
yeah.
nice. But anyone here do cosplay?
I used to.
But not me.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you cosplay?
A few things.
Well, okay. Would you like to tell our viewers,
Do I have
or
to?
listeners? I guess. Really.
Do I have to?
I
You don't have to.
So
No,
I
but you
did.
do have to.
No,
You don't
fine.
really.
So when it was still popular and not
have a
really,
drink of vodka first.
no, not really like problematic, and I was also a teenager. I did Liechtenstein from Hitalia. Not Hitalia. Is it Hitalia? Italia. I did like a default, and people that have been to conventions have seen these, like an Umbrella Corporation like
Oh, you've told us.
officer.
Okay, yeah.
I did what is the chubbier brother's name from Legend of Korra? the Earthbender.
Oh shit.
I don't remember his name. I cosplayed him.
The chubby brother.
The chubby
Yeah.
brother. I cosplayed him. And I feel like there's more. I did Stein from Soul Eater, but I did a gender bend Stein. I don't know. I think that's it.
We almost hired a dude who did a lot of cosplay.
Dustin said that he didn't get the job because he did a lot of
No, he didn't. We found his Instagram, and I thought it was really funny, and
Yeah.
Marty didn't. So, I mean, to be fair, like the pictures on his Instagram were like he had the like Magikarp mask, and it was like shirtless and boxers
Oh.
in a fountain.
It was
So
his own
like,
fault for showing Marty
no.
pictures on his
Yeah,
interview.
no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I still want to like do cosplay, like with other characters, mainly girl characters, because like I cosplayed a lot of boys when I was in high school, just because the outfits were a little less risque, and I was just not like up for doing
Sure.
a lot of the girl outfits.
Sure.
But now that I'm like older, I want to go to more conventions and I want to wear more cosplay because a lot of it's really cute.
We just missed Fairfax Con. I
Is
know.
that a cosplay one?
Oh, I don't know. It's a nerd convention.
Okay.
So
I-
I
Because I'm
assume
not
it
sure
would
if
be
there's
welcome.
much cosplay around this area. You might have
Yeah, I
to at
don't
least
think
go
so.
into Pennsylvania
Yeah.
No, Awesome Con.
or Ohio.
Awesome Con. Tyke's got a buddy who does cosplay and
Yeah.
like makes all his own shit.
Part of the
so
reason
he would know like where to go.
Yeah. So there's like two big reasons that I want to cosplay again. One is because I want to make my own props so that when I'm not cosplaying, I can like hang them from my walls like battle prizes.
Nice.
And then the second reason is I watch this streamer on Twitch. She's an ADC main that plays League, and like every
I know what
like
that means now.
yeah, every other like stream or so, she wears cosplay, and she's really really cute, and the outfit she wears is really really cute, and I'm just like, this could be me.
Is she like one of those serious ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a whole level.
Yeah.
That's a whole new level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that shit's cool. I'm really interested when someone does like Transformer or Iron Man or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the like little like servos and
bits.
Yeah,
animatronics
the
and
technical
shit.
aspect really
The the GIF that shows up on Reddit like every 2 days of the dude that did Gray Ninja with like the mask that separates
Oh,
and pulls back
yeah.
from his face.
That's really
That's so
cool.
fucking cool. Yeah.
I wouldn't cosplay normally, but like if it was cool like that, like that's a different thing. Like
Yeah.
gadgets
Yeah.
win every time.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
There you go. We can all go to I don't know what kind of cosplay cons are currently on.
Well, I mean, so like specifically for cosplay.
Well,
Or
that
just, like-
attracts cosplay. I mean,
I think
do
au-
cosplay
like
wherever
awesome-
you want, I guess.
Yeah, and probably not at work, but
Well,
I mean, I think like Awesome Con has, you know, there's like Awesome Con and
yeah.
Fairfax Con.
Do you dress up for Awesome Con?
I would imagine some people do.
Okay.
It's a big convention. I think Heroes Con is around here. So Heroes Con is North Carolina, isn't it? I think so. And I think there's something in up in Annapolis too.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean there's stuff around if you want to find it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Cool.
Are you gonna do it again?
I think so.
All right.
nice.
Yeah. None of you are going to hear about it. That was going to stay very
Oh,
under
no.
wraps.
Oh, no.
Just gonna watch the internet.
Oh God.
I'm gonna go to every single convention.
You're just gonna like
Yeah.
like eyes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Let's please not cosplay as our D&D characters, especially
Oh,
Especially Sean.
Especially Sean.
I could walk around like Dorf, on my knees.
no.
I'll cosplay as my character.
That's not what I'm worried about.
No.
No, I'm not worried about
You're
your
in
I'll
Decent
need to get a
exposure
recap of
charge.
what the special
Right,
outfit
yeah.
was, and then I can let their listeners
I'm worried
know.
Sean will get
I'll
arrested for indecent
cosplay as
exposure.
my
'Cause it was
shower
like-
scene
tell them what it was,
character.
'cause I
You
can't
were
remember.
you were wearing so from
Oh,
toe
God.
to head, you were wearing cowboy boots,
Cowboy boots.
a bikini,
Bottom.
bikini bottoms,
Just
yes,
bottom.
Just bottom.
a mesh top on top of a crop top.
top of a crop top, okay.
And then I gave you my red corduroy jacket that because you're a dwarf and I'm a tiefling, dragged on the ground like a cape.
That sounds like a pretty sweet outfit.
It was
Oh,
horrifying.
oh, and let's not forget the like really tacky cartoonish sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember those.
yeah.
The
And
only
then
problem is like it looked like just to anyone else.
Yeah.
Like to you, we know
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
But
yeah.
to other people, be like that homeless man has just walked into here. You should help him leave. So I don't know.
So let's seg into homeless witches.
Homeless witches?
Blair Witch.
What the hell's a
Blair
homeless
Witch.
witch?
Yes, thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
I'm glad you got that.
Homeless witch.
I mean, she
We're holding
will
a
be-
marathon
Here, let's-
telethon.
She's not homeless.
No, here's if
Okay.
she kills my dog, she will be.
Ooh, yes.
I think that
Okay,
dog's just gonna
yes.
disappear.
Don't talk about the dog like that.
Like
If
I don't know
the
if you're gonna get a
dog
resolution
dies,
at all.
We burn down the forest.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they're gonna give you a resolution, but it definitely disappears.
I will, in real life, I will materialize in whatever woods the Blair Witch takes place in, and I
gonna go to
will
Maryland.
spontaneously combust and set
Burn
the
down
forest
Maryland.
I think it's either
ablaze.
just gonna mysteriously disappear, or it's gonna somehow be considered this ghost dog that helped lure you to your
It's
doom
actually
or
the
some
witch.
stuff.
Oh, God, please,
yeah.
No.
Because I don't
No.
know why there's a dog there in the first place.
It's a mechanic.
Because he's
But I'm saying,
Good
like, I don't think it's
boy.
just going to be like, and it also lived. I think
Cop
it's going to serve a
detective man.
purpose. So it
Yeah.
either mysteriously disappears or it's
Not
somehow what got
bullet.
you into trouble.
yeah.
Not bullet.
Really? You haven't even played the game yet. How can you have such an
Because
attachment?
dogs
'Cause it's
are
a dog.
good.
But it was a cat.
Still.
There is no cat.
Okay.
Cat
It's
dies.
dead.
No.
I mean, they're witches, so
I'm curious.
it's
how,
a witch.
how many hours of gameplay is that game?
We don't
I
know.
have no idea.
I would imagine it's not that long though. Like I
seem
wouldn't
like it
think it's
should
that
Well,
long.
be.
if it's like Layers of Fear was like what, 8 hours maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm
Yeah.
just wondering how much Blair Witch you can
I
squeeze
love
into
these
a
short
game.
forms.
Well,
It
but they're
feels
also, like, putting
Slender
in-
Man in style of how much room you have to play with.
Well, but I think they're putting in kind of concepts that weren't necessarily present in the films.
Okay.
Like from
Yeah.
the teaser that I saw, like I'm not spoiling anything because anyone could pull this up. There are like these like wood creatures that are like demon-y.
Not creatures
think
made
they're
out
going-
of wood. Creatures that live in the woods.
But so
Yeah.
you think it's
Woods.
going like
Oh, they
that-
they looked kind of made of wood too,
I
almost.
thought they were made out of fire.
Maybe.
Do you think it's
I
going
guess they
like
could be on fire.
Yeah.
the forest kind of direction?
I don't think so.
Ooh. Like you mean like mutants and cannibals?
Yeah, just like these extra things.
I'd
that
be
are
kinda
thrown in
bummed.
there because it's not just you and
Yeah.
the witch. Girl,
I
it's
want a
like-
supernatural
No,
thing.
I think it's it looks supernatural because like in the teaser and like in the Oxbox video I saw, they were moving like they were here and then like boom they were there. So like they weren't just like regular
I'm just wondering.
physical creatures.
I'm really curious as to how much they can squeeze into that because
Mm-hmm.
the Blair Witch IP does not leave you a lot of room to play with. You need to expand it if you want to.
Yeah.
Get
And
them in line.
it seems
There's
like they
3
did.
movies, and well, and also though when you have
Well,
an
that
IP
second
that's
movie was.
yeah, we talked about that earlier. But like when the IP is as generic as like there's a witch in the woods that killed kids, boom.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot you can add to that
Yeah.
without breaking the IP.
Because to me, she so parallels Slender Man. Like
You
you,
think
don't
so?
really
Really?
see her, but by the time you do, that's the end.
I guess. I think Slender Man has that.
I'm just going by what the movies have. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that
I'm sure they've
mythos
added
of
a
the
lot of
like
stuff.
Slender Man was like showing up in pictures and photographs, but I thought like the Blair Witch was just kind of like doing her own thing in the woods until those kids
in
like,
the movie,
annoyed her.
she might as well not even exist. She's
You
a
never
maybe
see her.
she's exist.
Yeah.
These kids are just lost in
Yeah.
general.
Well, that's she was just, like she killed a bunch of kids in the 1800s
Yeah.
or whatever, and then she's just like doing her own thing until these like college
They
students
like
annoyed her.
stumble and and they touch her shit and
Yeah.
so she's like fuck you.
But
Yeah.
there's
Like,
no real.
There's no
from
physical
the movie.
entity.
From the movie, there's
Yeah.
not much to
No,
do.
no.
That you just sort of in the dark every once in a while. Since you can't see, you're concerned. But in
Yeah.
the daytime, you could. Give
But I
an
feel
F.
like-
you're just lost and it's annoying.
I feel like that's one of the reasons that the Layers of Fear people are probably going to
I still
excel
haven't
really
played that,
well
so I don't know.
because I
So
feel like
good.
I feel like they do that your worst fear is what you make with your mind
Yeah.
really well. And
Yeah.
so I think not only are they going to be able to like play up that narrative for like a decently long game, like obviously not like a insanely long game, but long enough that it leaves,
Okay.
you know, and
Well-
that and it seems they're doing character narrative too. Like there's
Yeah.
a backstory to the
Yeah.
character that they're probably going to expand on in terms
Yeah, I'm
of
just wondering how
gameplay.
much they
Yeah,
can
the-
squeeze into a game. Because what would you consider a reasonable length for a game?
Okay,
6 or 8 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm out of the ordinary now, but like for me, with the time I have to play games, I love these short form 6 to 8 hour games.
Okay.
As long as the story is like tied up in
Yeah.
a way that is like
Yeah.
6 to 8 is long.
Oh yeah, Homefront was
they
6
must
to 8
have
hours.
been searching
and
for
it was too
clues or
fucking
something.
short.
Like I'm not clear on the gameplay yet.
It seems there's
Well-
some puzzle solving
Yeah.
involved.
Okay.
And there's that whole mechanic with the camera where you can like rewind
That's-
time. and like
Awesome.
the camera will make the time like real life of like the same as whatever was happening in the camera. So like as an example, there was this like door puzzle where the character found the door and it was closed, and then he replayed the video on the camera, and in the video it opened, and so when you like go back to like real life, the door was open.
It seems like there's a lot of. I wonder if they're taking that because like the original Blair Witch was a found footage film, so
Yeah.
like the camera has magical properties. Because there's other puzzles where like you look through like in the quote unquote like real world and you don't see anything, but you look through the camera and there's like writing on the floor
Okay.
and like a demon in front of you.
Puzzle game would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how puzzly it would be, but I used to like Seventh Guest and things like that.
Oh my God, Seventh Guest.
You know,
fucking hate that
where it's like mostly a puzzle game and then the rest of it just
Yeah.
builds around it, you know?
Seventh Guest made no sense at all.
Yeah.
No.
But the puzzles were fun.
I would. I hope it's not like Seventh Guest. I hope it's more like Silent Hill in terms of like puzzles mixed with horror.
I think they'll be better about it. I straight up don't
hopefully
expect
it's
it
like
to be
25
like
years later.
like 11th Guest, because it really was like there's a story on the side if you're interested, but it was
Yeah.
mostly about the puzzles. I doubt they'll be that
was so weird.
disconnected, because that was like early on, like single speed CD-ROMs.
We've
Seventh
evolved.
Guest wasn't. The Seventh Guest was an FMV game. Full motion video.
Oh right.
Like
right.
yeah. Like along the lines of like
I actually bought those on Steam,
Phantasmagoria.
and I haven't played 11th Guest yet, the sequel,
11th Hour.
or 11th Hour.
I haven't either. I got through Seventh Guest. I'm like, I'm done with this shit. These puzzles are awful. Like, I'm terrible at puzzles
Really?
in the first place, and
You
these
hated
don't
it?
make any sense to me.
Some of them were kind of cool, like the
Maybe.
chessboard
I'm
with
horrible
the
at.
queens.
Yeah, I'm just horrible at puzzles. When I played Silent Hill, I put
Oh, I had
puzzles
to
on the
use a
easiest
cheat.
difficulty.
I think it was the Go game where you actually play an AI.
Yeah,
and I could not do that.
Yeah. Oh God, Seventh Guest. Yeah. Yeah.
But you guys have the VR and everything.
For
Oh no, that's not
Blair
VR.
Witch?
Blair
I
Witch
don't think
isn't
it's
VR.
I don't think so.
I would piss my pants if that was
that
VR.
would be
so cool,
amazing.
though.
Yeah. I haven't played. Well, the only horror games I've played in VR are that Until Dawn sequel, Rush of Blood, which is really
You liked
really
it?
cool. I'm digging it. Yeah, it's an on rails shooter, which works really
Shooter?
well for PSVR.
It's a shooter.
Yeah, you're like on a roller coaster and like shooting things as they
Oh.
come at you, which works really well for the PlayStation 4's version of VR. But that's all I've played. Like I haven't played Resident Evil 7 or any of the other ones.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected a shooter. I would have thought more like Detroit, but with VR, which
That
I
would
still
be
think would be
interesting.
awesome. I don't know. For some reason, just making it VR makes it more awesome.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm psyched for Blair Witch. Came out today, and like I was telling Tyke, these are the games I buy on day one.
Yeah.
Like I'm not interested in Call of Duty on day one or shit, but like I think I bought The Evil Within 2 on day one, and like I bought this today when I bought this at work. I was like, oh, Steam app on my phone, buy, install, done. Yeah. So, yeah. It's like,
So you're gonna give us a review next week?
yeah.
All right.
Well, Abby might give us a review tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Streaming that shit.
Nice.
I'm gonna cry like a little bitch.
Put your Twitch ID in the description. Of course, this won't go up tomorrow.
No, it's
No.
fine.
Yeah. Let's move on to Capcom teases new Resident Evil game, Project Resistance. So apparently, Capcom released some kind of teaser for a game called Project Resistance, which like the R and the E in Resistance were different colors. So everyone's like, "Oh, it's fucking Resident Evil, of course." People are theorizing that it's Resident Evil Outbreak 2, and then it's going to be 4-player co-op.
Was this the one that people were saying has turn-based combat in it?
Oh.
I don't think so.
I read something today about.
Cole, which color are you?
I'm not a color. I'm
these guys
directly
don't-
plugged
that's
in.
right. Okay.
About one of the
Sorry.
games, one of the new games coming out, or that was just released, having like turn-based combat, and when it usually doesn't. So
A survival horror game?
yeah, let me look it up.
That would be
Interesting.
really weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Y'all
I guess
keep
I mean,
talking.
Parasite Eve could be considered survival horror, and that was semi-turn-based combat. I really want a remake of that. I fucking loved that first game. That was amazing. Kitty.
We're all distracted by the cat. Sorry, guys.
So we're recording at Cole's house this week, and he has an adorable kitty.
She's chunky.
She's chunky.
She's an absolute unit.
She's a
Her name is Ruby.
fatty.
Yeah. And her name is Ruby, which is really cute too. You have to help me if I do not get Ben's cat. You have to help me name it because it's got to have a cute name.
Sure. Bagel.
Bagel, that's a good name. Meow.
Meow.
I'm not cutting any of this out.
That's fine.
Yep.
What were you looking up, Cole?
Oh, the turn-based.
Yeah.
Turn-based combat.
While he's looking that up. Yeah, so did anyone else play Resident Evil Outbreak 1?
Nope.
No? Okay, good. Apparently that was like
sorry.
two-player co-op.
Yakuza 7 is turn-based. It's not
Oh.
Resident Evil. It's Yakuza 7.
That's really weird. Like, that's just really weird. I don't even know what to say about that.
It's just, I think it's interesting when series completely change their paradigm so
Well,
far
especially
in. It's
'cause-
just so weird to me, and I love it.
Especially because nowadays turn-based is like largely considered like a retro conceit.
Yeah.
There's not many new IPs that do it, and Yakuza is not really an old IP.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if they're on the 7th one, maybe.
But they've had pretty
No.
quick iterations.
Yeah.
Well, especially like you said, like it's usually kind of a retro thing. Unless a game started as turn-based, there's very rarely games that come out now.
If it doesn't have sprites, I'm like, why are you turn-based?
Yeah. Or if you like in this case, like you said, like it wasn't turn-based to begin with.
Yeah.
And like if it was not turn-based to begin with like 10 years ago and then went turn-based, I could see it. But now it's like this is kind of a weird move.
Right. But 4-player co-op Resident Evil, like if that's the truth, I'm totally down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. Is Outbreak the one where you could like play? No, Raccoon City. They tried to do another multiplayer game a little while back
Yeah.
where you could play as like Umbrella like operatives,
Oh,
and
you
it was
mean
like
the-
a player
no, that was-
versus.
Yeah,
Not
was
Raccoon
like-
City. That was Umbrella Corp, I think.
Oh, okay.
think
It
that's
was
the
like
name.
player versus player, but also player versus
Yeah.
environment because
Yeah.
they were like zombies.
Yeah.
And I vaguely remember that being a pretty big flop. Like I thought the concept was
Yeah.
cool and the characters
Same.
were neat, but I don't think they like
Yeah.
kind of hit the mark in
Yeah.
terms of what people were looking for.
Yeah. I think it's so strange how Capcom is doing with Resident Evil, like what Squaresoft is doing with Final Fantasy. They're like, we've got our main numbered series, but then we're just gonna like do some things that kind of just go off the rails,
Yeah.
and they're like are totally wacky, and we're gonna call them like Outbreak or Revelations or Raccoon City, or like 10-2, you know.
Yeah.
But no, like a co-op survival horror sounds.
There
really
needs to be
fun.
more of them.
Yeah, are there any other than the other Resident Evil Outbreak?
I don't think so.
I
But
mean, like Friday the 13th, but that's not survival horror.
Until they can
it's
make
horror
it-
themed, but it's not
Yeah.
survival horror.
All they need is a good AI for the bad guy. And
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
But also, so the thing is, like, if it's 4-player co-op, I worry it's also going to be open world.
oh god.
Yeah,
Please
and
no.
like the Evil Within 2, I love. What?
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
wow.
I'm so sorry.
So the cat is in the loft.
She's dramatic. She does that all the time. It's fine. She's gonna. If she's stupid, it's her own fault. Leave her alone.
She's really cute.
She's adorable.
She can go down to that thing and get back up. It's when she's an idiot and tries to come down into here.
I'm so
Then she
sorry.
needs help.
I've derailed. It's just I
It's
see a
okay.
cat and I've got
It's okay.
magnet eyes.
Because we've never been derailed on this
Bye,
podcast before.
You're right. You're absolutely correct.
Stupid animal. Have fun up there.
Yeah,
Dummy.
don't do that, Ruby.
Oh god. Oh god.
Jesus Christ.
She's fine. If she falls, it's her
The
own
cat's-
fault.
I would
so-
die for Ruby.
Well, she can die for herself.
Sorry.
Well, I don't even remember. I don't remember what I was saying.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Resident Evil.
Something about Resident Evil.
Open world.
Open world. Yeah, I love the Evil Within. And I still kind of love the Evil Within too, but like that horror relies so much on pacing.
You give a lot of that up in an open world.
Yeah, yeah. It's real hard to control and like yeah.
I think like there's a way that you can simulate an open world while still keeping a player on a very specific path. And I think more like game developers need to do that because open world does not equal great game,
Right.
but there are ways to simulate the like concept of an open world without actually making it open world.
Right. Yeah.
And control the pacing that way.
Well, that's kind of always been the challenge of video games, like open the interactive nature of video games and like full freedom kind of is hard to reconcile with like tight controlled pacing, like a book.
You think they could do like Left 4 Dead but slower paced?
Maybe.
So there's
that'd
a
be interesting.
director,
Yeah,
just working full time trying to keep the pacing,
and it's
trying
still
to
largely linear.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I know that it's really technically not, but The Last of Us, like,
Yeah,
is a really good one.
Yeah,
Like,
well, that wasn't.
that's not really open
Open world,
It's,
yeah.
it does, but like I think that it gives you some options in traveling, like not just in a linear direction.
Okay.
That gives you a
Yeah.
little bit more player choice without completely ruining pacing.
That's true. That's true.
I think it maybe would follow Left 4 no, what's it called? Dead by Daylight, maybe. That makes more sense. Open but not too big.
Well, maybe, but like technically Dead by Daylight is open world in the sense that it's a single map that you can go anywhere on, but like the map is a very small map.
That's what
like
I mean. Open but not too big.
Maybe.
So you can all work towards one goal but not be in the
Yeah.
same exact location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible. But one of the things is also, depending on the type of game it is, the reason Dead by Daylight stays like fresh, and I say fresh, but even not really fresh, is like it is a randomly generated map based on a tile system. So my question is, depending on the type of gameplay that it is, if this is something that people are possibly going to be like traversing more than once, how do they keep it interesting?
It would be nice. I mean, with a little bit
Yeah.
of randomly generated maps, so you have that Diablo aspect. It'll never be exactly the same every time, but it's sort of the same.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is though, like Resident Evil games are very, as cheesy as they are, they still are strongly story driven.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be really difficult with
Yeah.
randomly generated maps.
Because they're also very puzzle driven.
That too. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what this
Yeah, that's hard to
actually is. Yeah. Yeah.
When's that
Four-player
come out?
co-op. I have no idea. They teased it at Tokyo Game Show apparently, and everyone's like, we don't know what this actually is.
Okay.
Like they didn't even call it. They never even technically said it's a new Resident Evil.
Maybe it's not actually a Resident
Maybe
Evil.
not. Yeah, but like everyone's like, well, the R and the E are a different color, so. But yeah,
All of a sudden, Norman Reedus just shows up.
I know. Yeah. It's Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding 1 is not even out yet, but
Kojima.
you trickster.
rapscallion.
Yeah.
How would you do that?
How are you working for
How'd you
Capcom
make
now?
Yeah.
It's the Evil Within 3. The Evil Within, which is the evil that's resident.
Yeah. It all takes place in a single house.
In one house, yeah. Takes place in a house from The Sims.
Yeah.
Okay. So more horror. Has anyone watched this series Castle Rock?
That's
Oh,
the.
Yeah.
It's just been the one season, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently, Kathy Bates is coming to Castle Rock next season. It's in season 2. It's gonna be
Okay.
like her origin story.
Okay.
And
Was she in the first one? Did I forget her?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay,
I think
okay,
that's like,
okay.
That's like why there's an article about it
Where does this season take place?
in Castle Rock.
Still in
Castle Rock,
They
where?
didn't really leave it off
Maine.
as
Oh,
to
okay.
imply a sequel, so they can do
No.
whatever they want.
Well, so like I haven't seen Castle Rock, but as I understand it, it's just like a lot of like Stephen King characters,
There's a-
like origin story.
There's an underlying narrative.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say I watched the first 2 episodes and it was really slow burn, and so
Okay.
I went on Wikipedia and I read the
Okay.
episode
Cheated?
descriptions.
Nah.
And then from reading the episode descriptions, decided not to continue watching.
It
Okay,
doesn't
that's fair.
feed into all of his works, although it could ultimately. It's
Yeah.
Mostly Shawshank is your 100%. You can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's some things about like kind of like a parallel universe kind of stuff. So I mean, it can bleed into other
Yeah.
works he's done, but it doesn't bleed into that many. That
So
currently.
I guess actually I just realized too, and I guess it could work if it's a young, whatever her name is,
Kathy Bates.
Bates. Because Misery took place in Colorado, didn't it?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah, and Castle Rock's in Maine.
Yeah.
So, but if it's a young,
There's a
Kathy Bates,
Castle
yes.
Rock in Colorado too.
Oh yeah, there is.
I was
was
we were
raised
both the
there.
same place.
Which-
Oh, you told us about
Yeah.
but I'm also like, apparently Lizzie Kaplan is playing young Kathy Bates, and I fucking love Lizzie Kaplan.
Who's Lily Kaplan?
Lizzie Kaplan? She was in that short-lived comedy show about caterers, and she was also in Cloverfield. The girl who the larger redhead dude had a crush on.
Not the one that made it to the end.
No.
Okay.
What did she? No. She died. Yeah. Yeah. I love Lizzie Kaplan. So I'm psyched. Even though I don't have the service that it's on.
It's fair, it's fair. I'll let you borrow mine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Are you looking up Lizzie Kaplan?
Yes. So the only person I know from that show is the main character.
Skarsgård is in it.
Yeah, Skarsgård. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill
There's actually,
Skarsgård?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's, I think I was saying there's actually a surprising number of like, wow, you're in this show? Like,
Okay.
and not in a bad way. And like, wow, I wouldn't expect,
Right.
like it actually has a fairly,
Oh,
Yeah.
Good.
the girl from Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yes, that too. Yeah,
go.
that too.
well, it's
All right.
also like the show is, I think, produced by, it's somebody big. Like somebody that was like, wow, he's producing a TV show. I don't remember who it is, but like he was the first one where they were like doing the credits that I was like, what the fuck? Like he's doing this. And then Skarsgård is in it. And I feel like there are like one or two other people that are in it that I'm like, oh, like I wouldn't have expected to see you in like a Hulu original. Like,
I mean, to be fair, like if you were an actor and you're like, hey, you want to be in a Stephen King movie? I'd be like, fuck yes, I
That's
do.
fair.
Even if it's like something ridiculously dumb.
That's
like,
fair.
Like
it's like it's a
Sleepwalkers.
Stephen King movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you
All
want to
right.
be in Thinner? Sure.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
Dude, and without spoiling anything while you're
No, no,
looking
no.
at that, it's gruesome.
Oh, is
The
it?
film is like not in like a very visual way, but like the first episode opens with this guy killing himself, and he ties a rope to a tree and gets in his car,
All right.
puts the rope around his neck, and then drives his car into the quarry and like
Wow.
decapitates himself basically with this rope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
There's also this very underlying, and I don't know like if this was like it's intentional. So the main character is a black man who was adopted by a white family, and the whole like premise is that he comes home because he gets this phone call from the prison, but everyone in the town hates him because when he was a kid he went missing, and when he went missing his dad went out to find him and his dad died. And so they blame him for his dad's death. They think he just like ran off and he was like this good for nothing. But it's also a town of a bunch of white people and he's this black man, and it's very
Okay.
much like this feels very racist. Like
Right.
there's no way like this doesn't feel racist.
Okay.
Like
It's a good movie, but I wouldn't count it as a horror.
No.
Like it's
Really?
something else.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like more
Psychological
Like
thriller.
a mystery, psychological thriller,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because like the thing that she was talking about, he goes into the woods. The reason they really don't like him is he was gone for a week in the winter, and they're like, "How did you even survive that?
Yeah.
You're up to no good, sir.
Yeah.
We don't
okay.
trust your story of like you just don't remember the last week.
Okay.
You know, like, But it's fun. It's fun to watch. I don't know if I'd watch it again. I kind of want to watch it again now that we're talking about
Yeah.
it. But
I kept expecting something scarier to happen
Yeah.
because it was Stephen King. And I think that's why I got really bored really quick, because I
Okay.
kept waiting for something scary to happen. And there
Yeah.
was just this continuous growing tension where I was like, okay, when's the scary? When's the
Right.
scary? And it
Right.
just never happened. So
Okay. So it's on Hulu, right?
Hulu, yep.
yes.
So it'll be included with D23, the Disney Plus
Are you
subscription.
going to do that
Should be, I
3-year
think.
subscription? What is it?
No, I'm
Something
not doing
ridiculous.
that.
Jesus.
I'm not doing, it's like $140 for 3 years. I'm not doing that. But like I'm thinking about doing like the $12 a month because if that gets this is a
If
total
it-
shift in topics.
If I can
Yeah.
get it instead of
But-
Hulu, I mean, it's almost free at that point. Isn't Hulu about that much?
Well, the $12 a month one comes with like Hulu and ESPN and
Yeah, sounds
something
like a
else, I think.
super deal.
yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, like I fucking like watch live hockey and baseball and then get Hulu and then like all the Marvel and Disney movies and like Sony shit. Like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Like that plus Netflix plus Prime, I'm still paying less than cable. So yeah, yeah. Where the fuck's your couch, Abby?
It's not here.
It's not coming,
Is what's
Abby.
important.
Okay.
Thank you, Rooms to Go.
Is that a plug for Rooms to Go?
We're gonna
That wasn't a plug for Rooms to Go.
give
sorry.
them 1 star on Yelp.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I shit you not. I'm going to go to my goddamn apartment and it's going to be sitting. I don't know how, but it's going to be sitting in front of my
Oh
door.
my god.
With a guy sleeping on it.
With the
Comes with free dudes.
No!
awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yes.
Remind me not to order from Rooms to Go.
Yeah. Maybe they were in a horrible accident.
There you go. Look on the bright
I'm
side.
sorry. I'm sorry. That wasn't
One-
good.
I'm
But
like,
only
I
hope.
hope so, but I also hope not.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
wait a minute.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
With any luck.
Now I've said it.
With any luck, somebody's dead.
Oh, no. Moving on.
Moving on. Speaking of resurrecting the dead, the other big story is apparently Telltale Games is returning.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I've got
Sort
mixed,
of.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
mixed feelings about it.
Same.
It's kind of garbage that, like, I mean, I feel bad that they let go their entire staff
Yeah.
and all of these amazing game developers lost their jobs, but the company, like, just continues on.
Well, but technically the people that own the company now aren't the original.
Yeah,
No.
that's the, like, you know, redeeming light of it, though, is like, I would feel way worse if the original owners were still there. And it was like
Like
you
Toys
guys,
R
like,
Us.
yeah, it's like you guys screwed over everyone, but y'all kept your jobs and now you're starting over and, like, getting funding. No.
Yeah.
But, like, they, like, purged everyone and then purged their assets. And I guess it's, like, hopeful that it's been bought up by industry, like, veterans.
So one article said they were video game industry veterans.
Yeah.
The Polygon article, though, so like the Yahoo article said industry veterans. The Polygon article just said like random investors.
I almost feel
So
like
I don't know.
it's like a mix. Like it might be
Maybe.
the people running it that like started the like we need to invest
Yeah.
were veterans.
Yeah.
But like the people that invested were probably not because I
Just like venture capitalists.
yeah because as much as
Yeah.
I love video games, you can't tell me a bunch of game veterans had enough money to buy a defunct studio.
Fair.
Especially now that in this article they're claiming that they're paying their developers. They're
Yeah.
saying that they're starting with just contractors to get this studio like
Which-
back up and
oh.
running, and they're like, oh, they're getting paid a fair wage, and I'm like, how do
Yeah.
you have the money to pay all of these old, you know?
Well, according to them, they don't
Telltale
have more than
devs.
like 30 employees right now. They haven't hired everyone back.
Yeah, they didn't hire
but
everyone
like
back.
to operate, you know, without any product bringing in money, because none of those games exist anymore. Like you can't buy them anywhere.
Yeah.
So there's no revenue coming in. You're just throwing money out there at these what sound like senior developers. I have once they release something new and all the news coming out of the studio are like, oh yeah, we were paid on time and paid well.
Yeah.
Then I'll believe it. But right now, I'm still feeling like
Nervous.
You know, that
Yeah.
maybe these devs are being taken advantage of.
Well, there's a lot of weird things. Like they said, like you said, like you can't buy any of the games anymore. But they also said that they hired on a lot of the old staff to support the old games.
Well, because I think
So
in one of the articles they were talking about I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you guys.
No.
They in one of the articles they were talking about like they're working with a third party to republish the games.
like AGC
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
and I can't
yeah.
imagine that like so although there are IPs that they technically don't have their hands on anymore.
Yeah.
They own they got their hands on other IPs. So I would imagine that even though most of them aren't available for sale anymore, there are still some that are for sale. And so now that they're Telltale, they're receiving the like funding from that. I'm still generally very skeptic about it as well, but like I am very hopeful that they're going to keep to their word.
As am I.
And like trying to be very like optimistic about it until proven otherwise.
Because their big thing was like, oh, we're going to be like an ethical company now, and like no crunch culture and all that stuff. And like, that's awesome. But then they're like, we hired contractors. I'm like, that's what caused the problem in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, make them employees and give them benefits, please. Because like the whole like contractor culture is a big part of the problem in the video game industry, where like you can be let go at any minute and you don't get any benefits, and you don't have a retirement plan, you don't have health insurance. And like when the project's over, you're done. That's it. And I think that's a big part of the labor problems in the industry. And when the new ownership of Telltale Games is like, we're solving that, but we're still using contractors, that seems like a problem to me.
Yeah. I do hope they keep to their word, because they were like, just for now, like until we can foothold. So we'll see if they hold to that. And I hope that people don't forget, and like the general populace that normally goes after people for like that kind of thing, hold them accountable for keeping that promise.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Everyone knows talked out?
I'm just curious
John,
how it's going to turn out
Celeste?
since they're using a new engine.
No, they're not. They're using,
They're using the Telltale engine.
They're using a new engine.
Nope. Nope. They're continuing to use what's the Telltale things, or the Telltale Games engine or something?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, but no, they're still using that engine.
Oh, okay.
They say it's a good engine.
They bought all of the assets Telltale had, except for like some of the properties. Like some of the properties went back to the property owners.
I think when Telltale closed, they all went back to the property owners.
I
They
think-
said
Minus the ones that technically Telltale owned, I
I
guess.
think they might
Well,
have
yeah,
a
like
few.
the,
Like I think The Walking Dead is still with them. They don't have
it's
the
with Skybound.
Oh, really?
Walking Dead was Skybound now.
fuck. I knew they didn't have-
Which Skybound is owned by Robert Kirkman.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew they didn't have Minecraft anymore.
And I think Batman went back to DC.
Although I think they did say in that article that like they got Batman back.
They said, so that was another thing I found interesting. They said they tried to get back as many IPs as they could,
Yeah,
but the ones that didn't want to sell, they just left alone.
sure.
So,
that
like,
seems safe.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to be like, they're trying to come back, but they're trying not to be jerks.
Yeah.
I guess. So like, okay, if you don't want your IP, we won't fight you for it.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to keep it.
It seems like it'd be really dumb to be like, "Hey, I know we just went bankrupt, but
Right.
give us your IP back."
Yeah.
To everyone,
Yeah.
and it's like you couldn't keep up with making all of these games for all these IPs when you had like hundreds of employees, and you're saying you want them now.
And now you got 20.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's a pretty good bet to just be like, hey, we're under new management. If you want to give the IP back, we'll do it, and we'll continue the series. But if not, we're done. We'll move on. Here's hoping Telltale makes some different games too.
Yeah.
Now that they're under new management, I think it would be worth it to have them just be kind of like a game house where they start making other games outside of the genre that they are most well known for.
That would be interesting. They would need an entirely new engine.
Maybe.
Because I feel like their engine now, I mean, I talk about this like I've actually worked with it, but I haven't. Like, it seems like it's probably geared entirely toward choose your own adventure games.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like clearly that didn't work. There's a very niche market for that. And if they just try to buy back all their properties and make only those kind of games, no matter how good. Like, I don't think anyone was disputing that the games Telltale was putting out were bad.
But they
I
weren't
think-
like AAA, like
I think they
$1 million
were all-
sellers.
No,
I think they were
They were
all
like
great.
$15 games.
Yeah, I think they were all really good and high quality, but it's just like the market for those kind of games is very niche and
Yes.
small.
Yes.
Like I personally can't stand like narrative click and point and click adventure games. So
Yeah.
I never bought a Telltale game.
Yeah.
But I think that the games are probably perfectly fine. It's just they went out of business because no one was buying them, no matter how good the
that's
quality
fair.
was. So if their business plan going forward is just keep making these, well, like what's the point? Like
Sadly, you're
it's
probably
not gonna
right.
matter.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think it's more worth it for them to just like do a Devolver Digital type thing and become like a gaming house where they start putting out anything that's cool.
Yeah.
And maybe start funding and supporting indie developers who come up with cool original ideas, and put out games of any kind instead of just sticking to this really weird niche genre of point and click adventure games.
Yeah. Well, they even pointed out, I think, in the Polygon article that like as good as Telltale Games was at telling stories, like their games were the same game with a different skin.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Like, yeah, that's true. I like them, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it just feels like, why, if this is what I'm playing, why wouldn't I watch a movie or watch TV or read a comic or something?
Yeah. I mean,
I get the whole like choose your own adventure aspect, but people aren't willing to pay for that, clearly. So they got to switch something up in this new.
And I don't even think not necessarily like willing to pay for that, but not willing to pay for it enough to support a 200 plus strong employee workforce.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, to me, Telltale games are $15 games, not $60 games.
Yeah.
And even like I love those kind of games where you just kind of choose like a thing. Like I loved Detroit. I didn't pay full price for Detroit.
I got it for free.
I don't think I would have paid $60 for it. I loved it, but I don't think I would have paid $60 for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll come back. It'd be interesting if they do different genres of games.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be. Oh, wait, shit. They did do. No. Fucking Telltale published 7 Days to Die.
Did they?
They did. They published it. Like I don't remember who the developer was. There's some stupid name like Awesome Games or something. But no, Telltale published 7 Days to Die. So I guess they've already got their foot in different genres.
I feel like that's the only way they can be successful going forward, is branching out of the adventure game genre.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to be a repeat with more contractors losing their contracts and more executives being out of a job.
Yeah. Yeah. Sadly, you're probably right. I mean, like I said, I love those games, but like, I mean, Jesus Christ, like Frictional Games comes out with a game like once every 6 years.
Yeah.
And like who's fucking heard of like the Chinese Room since like March for Pigs? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Why is my favorite genre like so not profitable? Damn you people. All right. Well, let's close the episode with the usual way. Let's go around the table. And anyone been watching, playing, listening to anything interesting?
Not super a lot, although I'm like we talked about earlier, gonna be diving into Blair Witch this weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll see how well that turns out. But yeah, I'm really excited.
No, I'm gonna be watching you play.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's my plan.
Nice.
Awesome.
Same.
I read year 3 and 4 of Injustice
Nice.
last week. God, I love that series. I don't know what it is about it being like.
It's just so
I'm a
good.
sucker for Batman v Superman stories.
It's so good.
So wrapped up Injustice.
You've seen the second part of The Dark Knight or read The Dark Knight Returns? Frank Miller's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So gonna keep going with that. I have Hellboy on the standby right now. I'm excited for that. Haven't played a lot of games, but I got a lot of League coming up this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I've been watching Good Omens, which I'm really digging. I mean, like I fucking love like everything written by Neil Gaiman. Ever since like I first read Sandman when I was like 10 years old, maybe. Like I'll read and watch anything by Neil Gaiman. So I've been watching that. That's awesome. Season 3 of The Good Place just came out on Netflix. So I've been watching that. I love that show. And I don't think I've been playing anything. I bought Blair Witch today also. I will be playing it. I will not be streaming it, but I will be playing it.
Cool.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So that is Muddled Dice for August 30th, 2019. If you like the show, consider donating to any of the organizations in the description. Thanks, everyone, and good night.
Good night.
All right.